Beautiful day out today. Got a little rain today, which is perfect for little wet ball drills and just get ready for a little bit of wet games. You never know when you're gonna have to go through that adversity. And today's a perfect day. No lightning either, so that's a good thing. Sometimes there's no way you want to go out there any lightning or whatever. We know we don't want our kids to get struck, but just to have to move it in, get the cameras in, it's chaos. So it's nice to have a nice day like today.
Did you wear different shoes on a day like today?
I got some gray shoes on today. Glad you checked out the style. I didn't want to get my white ones too muddy, but we'll do most of our work on that field turf, which is one of the reasons we have that, just so we don't tear up that field too bad. But our cleats are no different. You're only allowed to have such long cleats. I don't know what it is, but there's some extra long ones that you can't wear.
How do you feel you guys handled first day in pads, and then have kind of handled things since?
You know what? First of all, tempo-wise, I was excited with it. I think you guys saw the first 6 plays of the team, but I was excited just how the way they handled themselves. I think this team is a little bit more mature than others. They practiced with the right tempos. The day before they were worse. We put the pads on, they got better. So I don't, we coached the heck out of it, I guess, just trying to keep each other safe and making sure we're smart. But they did a nice job in pads. We didn't do a ton of live. Maybe three team periods of live, but we got probably 25 plays, and I thought it was good. We saw some good things on both sides of the ball.
What are the lines in particular? What stood out to you? O line, D line?
The usual. I can't tell you there was anything that stood out about what they did. I think our penalties are down. Knock on wood. As soon as I say that, we'll have 100 of them today. But our penalties were down, and again, I think last spring we had a lot of false starts on the offensive line. So that's one thing that stands out to me right now is we've been a lot more disciplined with a lot more different cadences than normal people have. So I think, that's been a positive, and we'll focus there.
Where does Solomon Shields fit into that competition we have at linebacker?
He's right there at the top. I mean, he's a guy competing. He can play both to the field and to the boundary, and he's been running with the ones, and people are trying to unseat him there.
I'm sure you stick your head into the offensive huddle from time to time, but how do you get a sense of how the quarterback is commanding the huddle, getting guys lined up? You know what I mean?
I'm in the huddle a lot, Chris. I'm in the huddle a lot. There's some long, whether they're reading it from the wrist or they got to get it from the sideline, it's a real call. But God, I'm not a quarterback. I can tell you that. I'm not good at memorizing lines. I'd be a bad guy in the movies, like, hey, you didn't get your lines. No, I'm not memorizing those lines. Those quarterbacks do a heck of a job in the huddle. But there's always some hiccups in the huddle. I almost wish we had a mic in that huddle so everybody could hear, on the offense. The defense would love to hear that. They're not loud. But just to hear how that, that huddle's commanded. But they all 3 of the guys that are getting the majority of the reps are, doing a nice job in there. But again, it's always a issue of getting out of the huddle and delaying games and all those. So it's something we talked a lot about, Chris.
Speaking about communicating on the defensive side of the ball, last year that was a lot of Chevalier, a lot of your safeties. Now you got to find new guys. Who stepped up in that role? You think the best?
Yeah, Jeff, I saw you be a little late here. Get your butt here on time. But we are.
I'll start laps now.
Good thing I love you. Start your laps. It's a peripheral vision for a linebacker. Going back to your question was communication. I mean, I'll start with Javon McIntyre. He's been the guy. I told you back, I think maybe 5 days ago, about how he's done a good job communicating. And people talked about him being the guy right now. He does the best job. Corners feel comfortable with him because he's giving them the call fast. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's studying it. The other guys are work in progress, but I think they've all gotten way better than they were in spring. And then, Shane Simon's the guy, Brandon George, we got a lot of guys who can call it.
In the spring, you and Randy both talked. Whenever we would ask you about Javon, we would both say, yeah, he made those picks late, but boy, there were a lot of mistakes in those last few games, some bowl, this and that. Yeah. Is he improving that side of the details?
No question about it. He wouldn't be the starter. There's no question about it. I mean, that was first game jitters, and he left, Eric Howland, in the bowl game hanging out in the middle of the field, and Alex sitting on his butt going like, where's my middle of the field player? Everybody thinks Eric got beat. Everybody's probably on Twitter and social media saying, what is he doing? And ironically, he's doing a heck of a job down in Jacksonville as well, from what I hear. But he's gotten much better that way. I mean, the MAs are down or non-existent right now. But we got more install to do, and that's what we try to press them. Today we'll have a 2-minute at the end of the game, but when things are rolling, we had some missed assignments in the UCLA game that we got to make sure we clean up. We're awful in the 2-minute situation against UCLA, so stuff that we'll clean up again today, and Yeah, there was a lot of young guys on that defense that day, so he was just new, kind of, playing the star position in Delta, and I mean, he had a lot of stuff on his plate that day.
Is he still doing both? Is he learning both?
Yeah.
Fielding and
Oh yeah.
boundary?
Oh, yeah. Field boundaries, the nickelbacks. Yeah, he's doing it all.
What about PJ as far as the middle side goes?
PJ's again, he's gotten a lot better back there. Again, he wasn't where we need to be in the spring. Sometimes he likes his calls. It's like, no, you can't just like your calls. You got to do the ones that everybody likes that help us in the, so he's learning. But he's funny. And he's like, I don't want to get beat deep. I was like, wait, hold on a second now. You got to do what we need to do. So he's come a long way.
What about Donovan? He's new to the system.
Yeah, he's new to the system, and again, he's much. All those safeties are much better. I mean, Javon was here as far as play calling. The rest of them were down here, and they are all doing without beating a dead horse here. They're all a lot better. I mean, Donovan's picking it up. I mean, he's he looks more comfortable. He appears more comfortable out there, and again, I think it'll just get better every day.
Anything else before walkthrough?
Coach, wet ball drills.
Were you late?
No,
he was here early. He was
Check.
first
So
one
you
here.
can ask quick.
I was just curious with wet ball drills. Talk about the punter competition. How does a day like today function into that competition go?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, can you catch the ball in the wet? And again, we've already worked wet ball drills, before this day. So we did them the other day in the indoor. Matter of fact, you guys were there early. Just putting in it. So we didn't know we were going to get a day, today in the rain. But we work that every week. But it's nice to have natural ones, where you don't have to, get a bucket of water to produce that.
The players didn't drink out of that bucket of water, right? That was the seventh.
No, I did afterwards, just to inspire
That's where the
them.
reporters drink out of.
Yeah. You get the best.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
All right, guys.